Hello, kings and queens. Welcome to another episode of the Wealth District. I'm your host, Dr. P, a father of five. Yes, a father of five. A husband, financial advisor, financial architect, financial coach, whatever you want to call me. Today, I have an amazing guest, D. Garrett from Level Up Alliance. Promise you're going to enjoy this episode. Stay tuned. We got you. Welcome back, y'all. As I mentioned earlier, today we have an amazing guest, D. Garrett, from what? Level Up Alliance. I was on her podcast one time. I enjoyed it. Now she's on mine. Miss D. Miss D. Garrett is a financial coach as well. And on top of that, she's also in what? Harmony Lending. What is Harmony Lending? Wait, we're going to talk about that. Miss D, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
How you feeling today?
I feel fantastic and blessed.
I love that. Bless. I love that, man. You know what? I wanted to thank you for taking the time to come on this show. Really means a lot to me. And thank you for having me on your show.
It was a pleasure. It was a good time. I know, like I said, there was a lot that I wanted to continue to talk about that we didn't even get to that maybe we can pick up on today. So let's see.
That's right.
I'll let you lead the way.
Listen here, guys. At the Wealth District, we come here to learn, to inspire, and to motivate. Get out your notepad, take a lot of notes, and guess what? Let me know how you feel when we're done. I promise you're going to like what we're going to talk about today. So, Ms. D, I got many questions for you. Where should I start?
I don't know.
You know what? I think where I want to start is this, right? I know, you're also in financial services. You know the industry pretty well. You know, a lot is always changing, right? Mm-hmm. And you're also in Harmony Lending. I kind of want to start with that, right? I think a lot of people, want to get into real estate, and they don't really know where to start. They don't really know what's involved. They don't really know all the nitty gritty that's involved. You being a hard money lender, what is your perspective on real estate? And why do you feel like hard money lenders play a critical role in the whole real estate transaction process?
That's a great question. Just to share a little bit of my background, if I could lead into
absolutely.
that answer.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was a full-time realtor. Actually, my educational background is construction management.
Okay.
I always had a passion for development, just things being built. And then I became a full-time realtor in 2006, just in time for the 2008 crash. Yeah. And then I actually, again, I was full-time, so I had transitioned out of construction management at that time. And through that journey, I got exposed to investing. Okay. And so part of learning about the investing side, I learned about different financial strategies, creative deal structures, things like that. So from that is kind of where I got into hard money lending.
Okay.
And so with that, I think it plays an imperative part on the investment side of real estate transactions. So this is not something that's for a homeowner, that's a traditional homeowner. These are products specifically for real estate investors. Mm-hmm. And so hard money loans come in different fashions, I guess, different structures, just depending on what the lender wants to offer. But the emphasis is that it's short term. It's not intended to be permanent financing.
Correct.
It's really like your fix and flip loans or your new construction loans, something that can be, between 12 to 24 months, usually at a higher rate. Mm-hmm. Higher rate of return, shorter term, but it also gives you the opportunity to leverage even possibly your business credit and to front load that capital to just get your project started. So I think it's pretty vital to the success of just the investor side of real estate.
Correct. You know what? I'm familiar, so I know what you're talking about, but a lot of our audience may not have any idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
So we're going to tap into a little more deeper. But before we even get there, I want to ask you, right? So you on the Wealth District show.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you, what does wealth mean to Ms. D. Garrett?
Wealth to me means having the joys of your life when it comes to everything all-encompassing, not just financial, but spiritual, physical, mental, emotional. all of that is wealth to me.
Yeah.
And so the more things that you have in line with your ultimate purpose and happiness that brings you happiness, that in itself can be wealth.
Like
so
that. I like
it really doesn't come down to a dollar amount.
That's right.
Just like this past weekend, I was in Denver, Colorado with my family, and I felt wealthy because my family, my whole family, my sister, her kids, my mom, I mean, everybody, my immediate family were still intact.
Man,
and
I
so
feel the
it's a
exact
blessing.
same way.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way. I think a lot of time when we talk about wealth, people automatically think money. But man, having financial wealth is nothing if you don't have spiritual wealth, or just the wealth of having a family, people that love you and care about you, right? I think that is so vital because that's a foundation.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have love from people, you just have money, you lonely.
Yeah.
Like, what does the saying go? If all you got is money, you what? You poor. And I believe that 1,000%. So, D. Garrett, tell us about your upbringing. Before we get into how money land and all these detailed topics, how was your upbringing? Where did you learn about wealth from? About money? About everything growing up? What's your history? What's your story?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I have very humble beginnings. Okay. So my mother, she was a nurse, and my dad was an iron worker. And they had almost for a lot of times they had alternating schedules, where one was at work and the other, was at home or flip flop. But I think that's where the passion for real estate came from, was seeing a construction project that was dirt, and then all of a sudden we've got steel erected, and I was like, how does that happen? You know? And so I always had an interest there. But again, it was humble. We were on food assistance. I wouldn't say food stamps, but we get, food assistance. We got commodities. I know about the government cheese and the peanut butter. I mean, the peanut butter that had the oil sitting on top. And so, I mean, there were definitely humble beginnings. We lived in a small 2-bedroom house in Park Hill, which is an area in Denver, Colorado. And for me, it was always, I mean, there's a lot of great memories of living in that area, just because we lived there for so long. And a lot of my elementary friends, growing up, playing outside, playing hide and seek, big trees, plenty of places to just run around as kids, was a memory, as far as even just no, I was gonna say working the block, but the way I mean working the block is as kids in Colorado, when it would snow, that's an opportunity. Let's go make some money, let's go shovel some sidewalks and then take that money to the neighborhood corner store and go play Pac-Man and get our candy, so it was just like that.
So even back then, you were thinking entrepreneurship.
It was.
That's amazing.
It's just been from day one. I mean, it was like, and one of my cousins that actually lives here in Dallas, his name is Shed G. He was my bosom buddy right there with me. I mean, we would be out raking leaves or something like that, just trying to figure out how we could make some few dollars and then go up the street and play some video games, because we didn't have gaming stations in our homes at that time. And then we still had penny candy, so we can get those chocolate footballs for a penny, So I'm dating myself.
Man, you know what, man, Ms. D. Garrett, what I love so much is your transparency. And here at the Wealth District, we're all about transparency, because I feel like it's so real. I don't like fake. I can't stand fake. You come on here, you speak from the heart. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me or the guest. It's about how we can impact you out there in the world, right? All the kings, all the queens. It's for us to be able to add value to you guys, right? So Ms. D, once again, thank you for your transparency, your honesty, because I feel like everybody has a story. Everybody has a certain level of upbringing that can inspire and impact somebody else. So thank you for that. No so I kind of want to get back into what we were discussing earlier, right? You mentioned the hard money lending. I want to kind of tap into that a little bit more, because I feel like it's such a critical component of real estate, right? And can you kind of just dumb it down a little bit, right? So for example, let's say I'm brand new in real estate. I've never done a deal. I've never bought a home. I don't know nothing about real estate, but I've heard about real estate and I want to invest in real estate. What does that look like? Where do I get money from? Because, to bring down 20, 30% or 10%, most people don't got that kind of money, right? So how does a hard money lender help a new person get into real estate flip or fix and flip?
Well, the key element is it's not necessarily for new people. So the first thing is, it's like kind of the situation where you're going applying for a job and they're like, well, we need you to have experience. And you're like, well, how do I get experience if you don't hire me, right? So I think the best thing is doing the research to connect with hard money brokers, because I'm a broker, not a lender, that have access to different products that may allow for new experienced people in the industry, because not all products allow for that.
Correct.
Not all lenders allow for that.
Correct.
So that's the first thing. But I think the biggest thing is going to be from the standpoint of establishing what your true goal is.
Correct.
What are you investing for? Is it to continue to flip that money and grow it, or is it to have a portfolio of assets? So you need to understand what your purpose and intent.
Okay, your objective.
Objective, because ultimately you need to understand your exit strategy.
Correct.
Because if you're planning to exit by selling, because you're going to buy it, flip it, fix it up, and then sell it, then you need to make sure that you're in tune with all of those numbers that play into that.
Yes.
Along with taking the risk of what the economy is doing and hoping that the economy doesn't affect your numbers with everything else that's going on when it comes to the housing market.
Yes.
But to answer your question, one of the key elements that people need to start with is basically just having an LLC. Because lenders want to see that you're in business and not a hobbyist.
That's right.
And so if you don't have your LLC and then all of your items in order, such as your articles of organization, your
EIN.
Your EIN. I mean, just all of those ancillary documents that come with just having a business. That's the key thing.
That's a key thing. Absolutely.
So that's going to be the first thing. And then if you don't have the experience, partner with somebody that does. And so that can actually play to your advantage as well. That's
a critical point that you just made right there, right? Because I feel like if you're coming in brand new, like the little experience that I have, in real estate, I think even if you have a little bit of experience, having somebody who's more experienced come along the journey with you, I think is extremely critical, right? Can you kind of touch more on that? So, for example, let's say you got two people trying to get into real estate, right? One is more senior, right? And have the history, they have the credibility, they have the credit. The other person that's newer, right? They might have the monetary component, but they don't have the credit, right? Or the experience. How does that work in? Like, so if you being a broker, like, how would you pair the two together, and what does a loan look like for something like that?
Well, they would have to create a joint venture.
Okay.
And the joint venture would be for that particular project.
Okay.
And so then once the project's over, then they can basically dissolve the joint venture and move on their separate ways, have their separate K-1s or whatever.
Sure. Okay.
As far as taxes. But I think the biggest thing is probably going to be about building a network. I mean, because you have to really... and there's different ways to build networks, whether it's your local real estate investors association, if they have meetups, that type of thing, but just build the relationships with people. Of course, Facebook groups are always great to just see who's doing what or what people are talking about. But as far as pairing people up, I don't pair people up because I don't want somebody saying, well, you told me or you introduced me to this person and now that, that, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Correct.
But yeah, as far as people finding other people in their network that work well with them that they can partner with and can lean on each other's strengths for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, their strength in numbers.
So, okay, that's a great point. So my next question, follow-up question is, you mentioned exit strategy, right? So when you do a renovation project, right, you can either sell the property or you can hold on and rent the property out, right? Depend on, like you mentioned, the economy, what's going on, like different factors, right? So when you are lending to somebody, right, what are the criteria? What do you look at as far as the project itself or the deal itself? What are you looking at to make you feel like, hey, you know what? I either can or cannot do the deal. Forget about experience. The actual numbers of the project. What are you looking at?
Well, me personally, again, I'm a broker, and so I gather the front end stuff.
Okay.
And so when I submit that package to the lender, it's their underwriting guidelines that determine, if the what do you call it? The ratio, if the ratio of if they're going to hold it for a rental, for example, what that looks like as far as the servicing debt and the income that's coming in.
Yes.
So it's up to the lender that's going to make that determination on what type of underlying, what they call overlay,
correct,
that they're going to actually require, with whether it's a 1.0, meaning, as long as
Yes,
you're cash,
DSCR. Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Well,
Yep.
DSCR type loan.
Correct.
If
Correct.
they're looking at, okay, we're just breaking even, maybe that's okay with some lenders.
Sure.
Others might say, no, we need
Some cash flow.
1.25, like
Okay.
25% or something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I don't look at that specific stuff.
Okay.
I just bring the package and then I let them do their stuff.
Correct. But what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like when a person or a group submits a package to you, right? Before you submit it to the underwriter or the lender, I think you look at certain things because you know whether this can qualify or not, right? So when you're looking at a package, from your perspective, what are you looking at to be able to maybe guide the investors and make sure to give you the correct package? What are you looking at?
We're looking at the financial statements.
Okay.
We're looking at if they have experience. We want to see their experience.
Okay.
We're looking at their construction budget.
Okay.
The credibility of the contractors that they're selecting for their construction budget.
Okay.
Because I'm just trying to think. There's a lot of factors and parts and pieces that I don't have my checklist in front of me.
Of course.
It's my cheat sheet. But
we all got cheat sheets.
Yeah. And so but yeah, there's a variety of things that even in package, assembling the package that we're looking at to just make sure that this is a viable deal. Yeah,
correct.
That it's like, okay, they got all their ducks in the row. They've got their GC. If you're coming to me and you say you want to do a flip, but you don't know who's going to do the work,
That's
I can't submit your package.
That's right.
So it's just stuff like that.
That's right. Okay, cool. Thank you for all that information. Like I said, guys, things can get very complicated, right? That's why it's so critical to make sure that before you do anything, you have the right group of people in play to help you, because I'm telling you, you don't want to learn when you're losing, right? Thanks. Get the information early on. Yes, there are going to be bumps on the road, but get the information from experts so you can make sure at least in the beginning you take the right steps, right? And even when you make a mistake, you have them to be able to guide you to be able to get to your ultimate goal, right?
Absolutely.
So like, Ms. D, let's kind of like flip real quick, right? Earlier, before the show started, you and I were chopping it up. We're talking about this and that, right? And I know you own your own projects, right? You own your own properties, right? You're a property owner, right? And you were talking about, finding the correct property manager, right? There's some folks out there that have the idea, I want to do it myself, right? So from your perspective and from your experience, what would you advise? Would you advise somebody to actually get a property manager? Or would you say, hey, do it yourself? I'm sure you've done it on both sides, right? Can you kind of like just elaborate on it? Like how you would approach it?
Well, that's perfect for the shameless plug of my book that's coming out.
Oh, man,
it's called Rental Property Management Essentials for Busy People. So that is something that I have, yes, like you said, experience on both sides, property management and self-management. And I actually still do both. I have a couple properties I self-manage.
Okay, couple.
The tenants have been longstanding tenants since I pretty much purchased the properties.
Okay.
And, we communicate well.
That's
Everything
good.
works well.
That's good. That's good.
And then on the other side, there's the property management that there's the turnover. So you have to really, I think there's still some criteria that I think that we need to keep in the forefront of our minds when we're selecting a property manager. And I think the main thing is communication.
Communication, yes.
Communication is just so huge. And that's what, as I'm interviewing right now for other property managers, I'm asking them, what is the software you use to communicate with your owners?
Okay.
Because I've had software where I've gone in and put messages, and then all of a sudden the messages are disappeared from my portal. I'm like, well, what happened?
What happened? Okay.
So, learning that way, but also even the understanding of how do we handle those repair invoices, And I think I was asking you, let me ask you this. Okay, so if a property manager or your property management agreement says that anything under $300, if it's a repair, that they can just go ahead and do it. Anything over $300, they need to just let you know, consult you, and then figure out what you want to do, right? Yeah. And so you know that there's a repair that needs to be made, but they don't get back to you, and then you see a bill in your portal, and the bill is for $350, but you didn't know anything about it. How are you handling that?
That's a great question, right? And for me, I've had the privilege to be able to kind of watch and follow people who own several properties and have property managers, right? I've seen people who handle it on their own and people handle it when they have property managers, right? And I've seen some of the dealings. Some property managers can be very, very difficult to deal with, right? They're not very communicative, and they don't really follow the rules and the guidelines you guys put in place when you first started. So from my perspective, if we have an agreement that you should consult me or call me if anything is above $300, I expect you to call me to let me know, because at the end of the day, you don't know my pockets. I may not have that additional money that you charge on my card or to my account, right? So for me, whatever we agreed upon on the onset, I expect you and I to both honor our agreements. You do what you do, I do what I do. Don't overstep me, I won't overstep you. So for me, in that scenario, I will absolutely expect you to honor that agreement. Now, if it's the first time that you made that mistake, I can let that go. But if it's more than one time, at that point, I kind of feel like you're playing me. And you're trying to feel like you're not trying to take control. So from my perspective, I'll shut that down. Or I'm going to have a conversation with you and I'm going to let you know, hey, I'm going to bring somebody else on board to take over. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to deal with headache. I pay you to deal with the headache. I don't want the headache, right? So if I feel like I'm getting a headache, bro.
Well, maybe they felt the extra $50 would have been a headache by calling you. I don't know.
I'm a financial advisor. a $25 difference can make a huge difference, right? So for me, don't assume that you know my pockets.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you there's a threshold of $300.
Facts.
Maybe that's all I can afford for a certain point, right? So for me, if you let me know, we can have a different conversation. If I got it, you know what? Go ahead, do your thing.
Yeah.
If I don't got it,
right,
it's a hard pause.
Man.
Let's figure out other ways. Because guess what? If it's a pipe that broke, there are different plumbers that can charge different prices. Maybe we can find somebody that can charge a little bit less than what you got invoiced for. And sometimes they might have their own people. They might have maybe like a background cut. I don't know that. So having that conversation to me is extremely important. That's just my perspective.
I agree. I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy. Because I was like, it's time to get a new one. Because I'm tired of this, and it's not the first time it's happened.
Come on, man.
So yeah, that's why I'm shopping for property management right now.
Yo, at the end of the day, like when you are an entrepreneur, right? Your time is very valuable, right? You have so much stuff going on. You don't want to deal. That's why you pay other people to deal with the things you don't want to deal with. So if I feel like I'm paying you, but yet I'm still having to be involved in managing my property, that's a problem.
Yeah.
What am I paying you for?
Right.
I'm paying you to deal with a headache. If I got my own headache, I got ibuprofen for that. You see what I'm saying? So for me, like I said, like I like simplicity and I like to be able to deal with people. If I agree with you, I want us to be able to honor our agreement.
I agree.
Right? That's why I believe in transparency.
Yeah.
I believe in respecting boundaries. Because I'm not going to come and do your job. I don't know what you do.
Right.
You don't know what I do. Right? So I want us to be able to honor our agreement. So to me, you're not crazy. Okay. You're a businesswoman at the end of the day, because your money, every dollar counts.
It does.
Every dollar counts.
As an entrepreneur, yeah.
Come on, man.
Especially, we watch those dollars closely.
But you know what? Let me take you on this path real quick, right? Being an entrepreneur, right, is not for the faint of hearts.
Facts.
A lot of time people say, "Oh man, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to own my time." But if you've never had the experience, or if you haven't really thought about it, right, it's not the way to go. You got to really analyze the whole complex, because things can get dire very quickly, right? So from your journey of being an entrepreneur. You mentioned being in real estate, right? You mentioned being a broker for hard money lending. What has your entrepreneurship journey been like? What has been some of the road bumps? What has been some of the successes? Like, what's your journey like? Because people need to know that, because a lot of folks out there think entrepreneurship is a cakewalk.
Yeah.
But man, it's not that way.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great, and it's a heavily loaded and could be a long-winded question or response, I should say.
Yeah. I get it.
So the journey has been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Simply put, I mean, there's the highs and there's the lows.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the transition into full-time entrepreneurship from when I was a construction manager and I left the industry and became a full-time realtor, that was scary.
Yeah.
And at the time, of course, as I mentioned before, that was at the time that real estate was at its all-time historic lows, really, that I didn't even know was really happening at that time. It's like you're hearing it, but you're not really understanding what's happening. And so I became a specialist in the distressed market, short sales and foreclosures, because that's what was happening. And even as a realtor, again, the I tell people, don't count it until it closes,
That's
because
right.
it's not a guaranteed paycheck.
That's right.
And that's a lot, with
That's
a lot of
right.
entrepreneurship
That's
until
right.
it actually closes. I mean, people have digital products and stuff like that. But
Correct.
when you're providing service, you put in a lot of time and energy into, the
And
outcome.
sometimes you don't get the back end
Exactly,
pay.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in situations where, we feel like we've got, like I had a veteran that was trying to use her VA loan for a for a
Property.
purchase. And, when it came down to her, having some reserve hours that didn't count or something, it was like short on hours for her not to use it on that particular
Wow.
lender's loan. I was like, this is crazy. It was in the 11th hour and we found out, but
Yeah.
so it's like
Things
those
happen fast.
Yeah, it's like you're at this peak and then you go down like, oh my gosh, and you start over. But long story short, we were able to get her something
Good.
later. But
That's good.
and so even with this journey, I think it's allowed me to expand on my own I guess knowledge base as far as things that I can actually offer to help other people move forward. So from the beginning of the real estate industry, then out of that birthed the credit side. So I started helping people with personal credit and then eventually business credit.
That's
And
right.
so I still have those services available. I don't really promote them, but
Sure.
yeah, they're still available because people
Yeah.
talk to me and they're like,
That's
oh, I
right.
need help with this or
That's
that.
right.
I don't do personal credit repair,
Sure.
but yeah, as far as plugging them into getting that stuff improved.
Yeah.
And so then even, continuing on that journey and then getting more into the diverse investing side of things, that's where the brokerage came into play.
Yeah.
But even while I was a realtor, that's when I actually, over 10 years ago, got the first time I got licensed in life insurance.
Okay.
And so
Okay. Okay.
the biggest thing that people are buying is a home. And so a 30-year mortgage,
That's right.
if something
right.
were to happen to them, why not cover it with at least a 30-year term?
Okay.
So
Okay.
just having that additional protection for their lives,
That's right.
whatever. And
That's
so
right. That's
and
right.
so it's interesting because of course I left that back then over 10 years ago, but
That's
I circled
right.
back and I'm back in it now. And so, insurance, life and health, and then just helping people protect their retirement plans, because that's where I'm heading right now. I'm like, retirement is next on the horizon officially.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's been a lifelong journey. I mean, it's just been all kinds of just different areas of service, if you will.
Yes, man. That's a great thing, man. Man, I have so much to ask you, and I can see you're somebody that has a wealth of knowledge and experience, and I love that you're able to just come on here and share and just inspire and just be so vulnerable and be open and transparent. I think I really, really enjoy your time, and I just want to say thank you, for the opportunity. Thank you for blessing my podcast with your presence and just your wealth of knowledge. And I guess I can go on and on and on, right? But the show must come to an end.
I understand.
We got bills to pay.
We do.
Right? We got other hosts, other guests we could bring on the show, right? But like I said, Ms. D. Garrett, thank you. God bless you. And whatever you're doing, man, I know you're going to succeed at it. So please, before you go, let my guests know how they can reach you. How can they can tap in with you and please let them know.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, first letter D, last name Garrett, GARRETT _LUA for Level Up Alliance. You can find me there, and I have a link to all my other products and services there. Or you can go to my website, levelupalliance.com, and then I'm also D Garrett on Facebook.
Man, Ms. D, guess what? I hope you come back on another episode.
Absolutely.
We have so
Anytime.
much to talk about. I want to pick your brain. We can kind of have a dialogue, figure out what's next, right? But look, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had an amazing time. And man, I'm telling you, the Wealth District, we don't play games. We come to you raw, direct, and unfiltered. All right? Until next time, love y'all, kings and queens. Take care, stay blessed. Peace out.